All right. Well, we'll give folks just another few moments to trickle in, but we'll go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to the Social Media Happy Hour. I'm Chris with the Cloud Campaign team. And joining me today is Rotimi Kehinde from Kingdom Branding. We're very excited to have him today to talk about agency pricing and pricing strategies. Rotimi, we're so lucky to have you. Welcome.
Well,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
joining us. Yeah. Before we dive into our topic, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and who you serve with your agency?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Chris. This is such a great opportunity, and thank you for having me here. So my name is Rotimi Kehinde. I'm originally from Nigeria. If you're trying to pick out how to say the name, it's Rotimi. That's like rotini pasta with an M. So Rotimi. And my agency is called Kingdom Branding. We are based in the Ravenswood area of Chicago. We do web development, brand strategy, social media marketing, and a few other marketing services in there. We're a team of 7 in-house creatives who love what we do, and so excited to be here with you today.
All right. Well, I very much appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. We want to make sure that we also get a few housekeeping things out of the way. So if you have any questions for Rotimi about this topic, please pop them into the chat. We'll get to them. We also have, if we have some time, we'll do a little bit of Q&A at the end. And we'll also be emailing a recording of this session afterwards, which will include captions, closed captions, I believe. I saw a question in the chat asking for some closed captions. So that we need some time for it to process and be able to create that. Unfortunately, AI can't keep up with us live. Any case, that out of the way, let's get started. Rotimi, the first thing I wanted to explore, just kind of setting the stage a bit and getting a better, just broad understanding of like the agency market. Just so folks know, I'm mostly an in-house marketer. I spent some of my early years doing some freelancing, but I really wanted to lean on Rotimi and his expertise for agency pricing, structure, and strategy. So, what can you tell us about just the current state of the marketing industry as it kind of relates to pricing?
Absolutely. And I know there was this really cool video that I wanted to show you. Is it okay if I quickly just show that and then
Yeah, of
jump?
course.
All
Absolutely.
right, perfect. So this is just a little teaser about Kingdom and our team, and our tagline is a creative partner for brands that rule. And there are some of our clients that we've had the opportunity to work with, from the political space to nonprofits. Castle Kukani is a very good one. Also, education. As Chance the Rapper, did a cool project with him, and our team, we continue to take on really cool marketing projects, and we love Cloud Campaign so much because that's really helped our agency. So I just usually like to share that very quick teaser and brag about Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, of course. That's an awesome project to work on. And I love that
Absolutely.
sizzle reel. I feel like it gives such a good take on your brand's personality and what you
Yeah,
do. Um,
absolutely. Well,
Also,
let's
just
jump into pricing, right? So go ahead, Chris.
yeah, I just wish before we started, I just wanted to point out and give my appreciation for marketers that use their platform, their agency, their skills and resources to do good in the community.
Yeah.
It's so easy to fall into driving profits and performance and creating leads, but it's also great when marketers are really passionate about things like you are, and strive to do make a positive impact in their community. So just wanted to say thank you for that before we get any further
Absolutely.
than that, because I know that's
Yeah, and
important
I'll
to you.
share a little bit more about some of those projects today. But yeah, uh, as you know, I mean, pricing strategy, I mean, that's such a critical part of any agency. And over the past, say, 15 plus years of initially freelancing before I started the agency, which is now about, this will be 7 years old this year, I've tried a different, I guess, different mix of different pricing strategies. And so I'll be able to share a little bit about that today, some of the things that I've learned along my journey and what's worked for me and what hasn't worked. And I think that should help other agencies as well as they're thinking through how they want to structure pricing.
Yeah. Well, so thinking by kind of broad economic factors, there's been a lot going on just this past year or two. But
Oh,
over the 7 years that you've been operating in the agency space, what are some of the trends that you've seen that have affected your agencies' pricing strategies?
Absolutely. I think one of them was COVID, and that had a huge impact on a lot of companies across different industries. So that's been one area where companies have started to kind of streamline kind of like their marketing budget, and also wanting more results maybe more quickly than previously. So that's one area that we've seen it. So there's been a kind of like maybe more lean marketing budgets. The second one would be digital transformation. As you know, generative AI, that's huge now, right? And it continues to grow. My wife actually works in AI, so we're always kind of sharing ideas on what's going on, and she's going to all these conferences.
That's cool.
It's really, we're really just at the beginning of what this thing can do. So that's also given, I think, clients an opportunity to be able to create on their own. And so agencies, I think, are beginning to think through how do we kind of restructure how we're partnering with our clients, because now there's the idea that we can do some things ourselves just because they have access to generative AI. I think those are a couple of opportunities there that I think are really, and then there's a host of other things, but I think those two things are part of what's happening that's impacted pricing.
Nice. Actually, while you were saying that, I typed up a quick poll asking
Okay.
if folks have you been forced to shift your pricing strategies because of AI? I don't know, I just want to see kind of how it's fun to see has this not only impacted you, but who else has this
Yeah,
impacted. So if you want
absolutely.
to jump in the poll and answer if you want to share. Um, yeah, so it sounds like a combination of those economic factors, maybe not I guess you could consider COVID a natural disaster, kind of a disaster, a
It
pandemic.
was a disaster.
And then also some of those technological advancements that really just it makes it very, I'm sure for you as a business owner, that was probably a lot to navigate trying to figure out, okay, how do I pay my bills, pay my people, and do meet all those financial obligations given these circumstances. Um, Given that, how has the client expectation shifted because of these factors?
I think one of them is wanting quicker results. So we not only do organic social media, but we also do paid. And so part of that now is the conversation around should I be investing in organic social versus paid? Can I get leads? Am I still going to get quality leads out of my social media program? And I want those now, if that makes sense. So as they're investing, there's a desire for more accountability with how you're spending their marketing budget and how that's getting them their ROI. So that's I think that's been a shift there. And social media is not just now a fun thing that we're doing, but now we really, really want to make sure that this is part of our holistic strategy to grow our business.
Yeah, because it sounds like people want results faster. They want to see
Yeah,
how you got the results. And
yeah,
then also because things are kind of tighter, just resource wise, things are
yeah,
more expensive. They want it for less. So I can imagine
absolutely,
that's a very difficult thing to kind of balance when you're trying to please people and also acquire new business. Shayla
absolutely.
Shayla asked a great question. She's curious why people feel AI is related in a need to shift pricing strategy. Would love to hear more on that.
Yeah, I think with social media, a good part of this initially was having copywriters, content writers. In fact, there were businesses that were built around writing content for social media. And one of those was a partner to Kingdom Branding, and they had to let a ton of people go because they lost a good chunk of business because now clients can automatically generate their own captions. So I don't see it as a problem per se. Our business isn't built on writing captions, but we're built on strategy and also the creative assets that we kind of bundle with that, and then using Cloud Campaign as the engine to be able to run successful social media strategy. That's really helped us. But for other companies that were leaning on a retainer that's based on writing, that's really, really impacted them.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like one perspective or one take on this is the work is getting easier to do and therefore cheaper. And as a result, people expect like, well, copywriting shouldn't cost that much because AI exists.
Yeah. Well, Chris, here's
Therefore,
the thing. Most of those companies that stop their retainers are not even writing or just dumping AI without really a strategy, right? So at the end of the day, I think it kind of balances itself out. But it is a real concern for companies that have built their businesses on that.
yeah. Well, if you're tuning in, let us know how you feel about this. Is it, and is this your experience needing to lower prices or feeling the need to lower prices because the just momentum or the amount of work needed to do has become easier or theoretically easier thanks to AI? We always reiterate that AI needs human intervention, oversight, editing. You can't just pump a bunch of stuff in and spray a bunch of stuff on the internet. Um, so just want to do our PSA or AI PSA for that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let us know in the comments. Quick check in on our poll. We're a little split down the middle in terms of erring on the side of no, 6 to 5 in terms of raising or changing your prices due to AI. So very interesting to see how that plays out. Well, let's we've kind of talked about the environment, expectations, how things have shifted. Do you want to dive into some of the actual like pricing models? Because I know there's different strategies. I've gone through different pricing models when I did some freelancing. So tell us a little bit more about some like structures and things we can deploy.
Absolutely. Excuse me. I think one of the things that comes to play is that you have to think about your target audience. So if your clients are like small businesses, or I call them lone warriors. So you have those single entrepreneurs, a chiropractor. They're really it's I think they are more stretched, and so we did have those conversations around what is best for me. Is it organic versus paid social? When COVID hit, right? For some of these, for some of them. So I previously used to use like an hourly model, and I've tried project based. I've tried it all, and I would say that depending on that target audience, how large your client is, that I found that. And then a ton of us always like to go for the bigger clients, and I'm like that as well. I want clients that can actually afford me. But I built a hybrid system where I kind of structure my pricing based on my retainers, based on hourly wages for my staff. So depending on what you get on a project, that influences what that ultimate retainer is. So I'm charging for their time, but I'm also adding profit margins to the cost, and then that's bundled with other fees, software, and a few other things into a monthly retainer, and that's been very helpful with our company. We've really scaled with this model, what I call a hybrid model of pricing, and so when I say that, it means that we do have some project-based pricing. So we've had people come and say, hey, we just want you to put together a holistic strategy for social media. And we don't want to engage, we just want access to the software. Great. We'll charge you for that. And then we'll give you a license for Cloud Campaign through our agency. And then we have those that are looking for a more holistic program. And then we kind of bundle a few more things in there into a retainer, which I'm pretty sure we all love retainers as
Yeah.
agents.
Oh yeah.
Consistent income monthly. I love this. So we have that, and that's helped us very much.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you have a few things going on. One is more what we would consider closer to like a self-serve model. They want to come in, they just want to use the software, maybe a little bit of guidance, but it seems like they're a little bit hands-off, which I love that strategy. It's a great way to just have solid, stable revenue that you don't have to invest a lot of your own resource back into. But then it sounds like with this retainer model, you're actually sort of amortizing all of your like overhead into some of that retainer cost and offsetting that over time. Without getting, I guess, like too into the math, because I don't want to put people to sleep. I'm not great at the numbers myself, but how did you get to that approach? How did you kind of figure out this is what's right for us, and then maybe some guidance on how you put together the formula, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. I started out, and I think some of us kind of fall into that trap as a lonely entrepreneur, of thinking if you price low, then you're going to get a lot of clients. Well, the challenge is get a bunch of clients that you don't want at all. Like they will squeeze every breath out of you, right? For nothing, right? For literally peanuts. So I started out there, and that's why I said I've tried so many different things. So I decided that first of all, I'm going to ask myself, what do I want to earn hourly if I was being paid per hour? And then I did the same thing for our staff. So at different staff levels of experience or the kind of work that they produce, what do I want to pay them hourly? There is a pricing calculator from HubSpot that we used to navigate what we should be charging pretty much. So we use that calculator to figure out based on the hourly wage that we want to be paid and other costs as well, plus our profit margin that goes back to the company when they're paid for their time. That allowed me to be able to craft this hybrid, whatever you want to call it, but this retainer pricing that's still based on that hourly wage for my staff. So that might not work for everyone, but that's just what's worked for me. So I know that whatever retainer I'm getting, I know what's going to staff, and I also know what's coming back to the company as profit that enables us to scale.
That's really neat. I love to hear that the team is incentivized based
Yeah,
on like the value that they bring to the project. They get some. That's really cool.
yeah,
I don't think I've seen that
yeah.
as built as prominently before. So kudos. That's really cool.
Yeah. And we're trying it out. If it doesn't work, we'll change it. And that's the beautiful thing about being able to do this is that yes, I will try to find it. It's been a while, but yeah, it's a spreadsheet. I'll just make a copy and I can have that shared, get that over to Chris.
Yeah.
But
So
it's a
have
very good tool. You'll love it.
That sounds awesome, and thank you for being gracious and
Yeah.
sharing that. Yeah, so Heather and also crew watching, I'll get that from Rotimi and send that in the follow-up email, so you'll have access to that calculator very soon. Wonderful,
Yes.
cool. Well, thank you for that. So we just talked about hourly rates versus project-based pricing, some retainer agreements, performance-based. Can you tell me a little bit just you know how do you go about determining the right price? Like that seems kind of tough because I don't know. I think we've all struggled with imposter syndrome at some point,
Yeah.
which is a good sign if you do struggle with that because it means you care.
Yeah.
But how do you determine your unique value and what that's worth?
Absolutely. I think number one for me has been listening to our customers. Our agency is very great with design, and you probably know what's great, like what you're really good at. And when we when we design, we're great at it. When we put together a strategy, we know it works. I love Cloud Campaign because it enables me to be able to share data in a chewable fashion. Like it's easy for my clients to just go on the dashboard and see how they're growing. Uh, so I think the hybrid of the creatives and the work that we do, plus the technology, has really helped us to set a different bar in terms of how we express our value proposition. So some of those challenges that our pain points that clients will come with is, well, I'm just posting. I don't even know, right, if it's doing anything for me, right? Well, now we can answer that question, right? Because now we can see the engagement. If that's a KPI that your customer is looking for, or here's the number of clicks, the leads that you're getting, or here's which posts are doing really well. Here's the time that we're posting. Here's the cadence that we should be posting. All of that is now being answered right through Cloud Campaign, and so we're bundling all that into this service offering that makes our clients go, "Wow!" And I give you a very good example. We just started working with the gun violence prevention PAC in Illinois. Right?
Nice.
We work with a ton of political campaigns, right? And one of the reasons why we were able to upsell this account, because we started out with a smaller plan, and we were able to upsell this account because I literally shared my screen and showed her the data. And she was like, whoa, 250% increase in engagement over just 1 week of work, which, I mean, you can understand why that might be, maybe because they just weren't posting. They didn't have a strategy around what they were posting. But as soon as we started our work, she immediately saw a bump, right? And the way I was able to sell that value was through the technology. So immediately she said, yeah, I want the full program. I want a dedicated social media manager, right? Send me the contract. We're signing this right away. And that's how we were able to get that. This is just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a nice foot in the door. You kind of have them on a low, but then you can show that
Yes.
distinct value. And I guess maybe from that too, that informs how much your services are actually worth.
Yeah.
Very cool. Um, Also, just to kind of go back to that calculator, does that it sounds like that helps you log in, your expenses to be able to help kind of set the price too? Does that also plays a significant role in
Yes.
determining what your value is how much you're spending
Yeah.
to create value?
That was my biggest challenge is understanding how much time is going into the work. And so we asked our team on pain of being attacked by me virtually, because we're all remote, that everyone needed to track their time on the most minor task or major task. Just track your time, and then we started to use that to calculate how much investment hourly each person was putting into the work, because I felt like we were undercharging and we're undervaluing ourselves, and that's really helped us to be able to ensure that everyone is being paid, the right amounts that they want to be paid. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just answering a quick question in chat. I guess I could also
Yeah.
say I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, no,
Somebody asked
no.
about the calculator, and Rotimi generously offered to share a pricing calculator with everyone.
Yep.
So there we go. Also in the chat. Yeah, so that makes sense. Also, kind of side topic that just came up. I know you do a lot of work with political
Yeah.
organizations. Um, I know that that's a growing sort of niche market for marketers, particularly in social media management. So
Yeah.
I'm curious if folks want to chime in if they're interested in this as a topic in the chat. Let me know. But if you're interested, would love to have you on again in the future just to talk about marketing and politics. I think that could be an interesting, without getting into the politics themselves.
Yeah.
We'll keep it open and inclusive conversation, but it would be awesome to have you on to talk about that and how do you bridge and navigate some of that stuff.
Yeah. Just be prepared for a few Saturday, Sunday morning posts, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Extremely last minute. Yeah. We've had a few of those. We had a candidate who sent out mailers to a website that didn't exist. And then they called us and they said, "We need you to get it up. We don't care how, we don't care how much, just get it done."
Just do
Right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
got lots of crazy stories in that space, but it's a lot of great work, and we're excited to do it.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, let's move on to the topic of technology and pricing for tools and software. You kind of talked about the calculator you used to develop your pricing, but can you tell me some other tools that maybe you've used in the past that help with pricing or that help you kind of just like manage everything?
Whew. Uh, Spreadsheets, right?
Yeah.
The old and just standard way of just using spreadsheets and to figure things out, right, as you go. But I think now, project management wise, we internally use Slack a lot just to do our day-to-day communications. We also use Notion. I've used Notion as well. I think that's always a great tool that we use. But in terms of how technology could be a strong influence on your pricing, that ultimately obviously brings us back to Cloud Campaign's offerings. So I love how simple the interface is. That's always one big thing that my clients always say is like, "Whoa, this is so easy." And I used to be offended about that term previously because they'd be like, "Why are you saying this is easy? This isn't easy. This is work. You're paying me to do this work." But now I think we're getting to the place where we have to be so transparent with our clients and just open with them and just let them see the dashboard and let them see how everything works. And I'm no longer afraid to share, the software. If you look at other competitors, right, it's just very clunky. I mean, I've used them all. I've used Hootsuite, I don't want to name drop them, but I've used all of them. They're pricey and they're just really ridiculous to work with.
I won't hold it against you.
Cloud Campaign just dumbs everything down exactly what the customer needs to see. And so the social listening tool, we love that. There's so many features, but this is some of the things that we've been able to use and showcase that helps us say, "Hey, with this technology, this is the value that we're adding, and that's why we're charging for this." And it's made our lives a lot easier. But yeah, Notion was one of them. That in terms of tools, general tools that we use will be Slack and Notion, and I think the gambit of Adobe and Google Workspace, and some of those tools, and HubSpot, obviously.
Nice. So let me ask you this. Have you ever pulled analytics from your existing customers to use as an example to show prospects? So, like, hey, we did this as kind of like a case study. We did this for this company that's similar to yours. They grew this much. Is that something
Yeah,
you've done?
yeah, we have screenshots across our proposals. So we have different case studies of different accounts with stats. And I wish I had my project director here, Alona. And one of the things that she used to say a few years ago was, we're not adding value, we're just posting. We need to add value and we need to show value. So now with the analytics, we're not only able to just like now we're able to say, hey, we're not just posting, but here's hard data over the past 3 months, or comparing this period to this period. That just blows their minds because they're like able to see, and not just for the client, but also for our team to be able to make more informed decisions on creative and on copy. I mean, it's a whole new level.
Yeah, I mean, data is everything in terms of
Yeah,
marketing and being able to create, objective value from that.
definitely.
Heather, I do wonder if that answers your question. I was trying to get that in a roundabout way, but I believe you can go
Yes.
in and pull analytics, whether they're reports or even if just taking screenshots of the dashboard for a higher level summary, and using that as a comparison or just something to show a prospect. I think is a great use of the data for sure.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, Rotimi, I don't know how it happened, but 30 minutes has already gone by. So I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. Open it up for a few last questions before we wrap up. So I'll give folks a chance to type furiously away. While they do, I just want to remind people that we will be sending out a recording of this cleaned up a little bit afterwards, along with some extra details like how you can get in touch with Rotimi
Yeah.
and the calculator the pricing calculator tool that he generously offered to share. Rotimi, before we depart, can you tell folks where they can find you, please?
Absolutely. Our website is kingdombranding.com. I'm going to put that in the chat. And you can also text me directly at this number. And what else was I going to share? Oh yeah, my HubSpot link. So let me get you my. If you want to set up a chat with me, you can just do that through this link right here. You can do 15 minutes or. So I see that. Yeah, that's a good read. I've read that. I'm Katie. So we're a HubSpot partner. So they actually give us some resources that they don't share with other agencies.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to make a copy of the one, and because you guys showed up, you guys get that calculator that they provide, uniquely to agencies.
Perfect. Cool. I think this might be a good question to wrap up on. Talking about base hourly rates the agency should
Yeah,
start at. That's might need a little more context there, but
yeah.
do you want to try and take a crack at that?
So it's totally the way that we started out at we started out at $100. Started out at $55 an hour for social media, and then we had $75 for something else and $100 for web. So again, think about who's doing the work. So if you're a solo engine, that's different. Ask yourself, what do I want to be earning hourly? And then you can create two different pricing systems there. So on the conservative end, I want to earn $75 an hour for my work. On the high end, if I do get a huge client, right, then I want to do $150 an hour. That's totally up to you. Your experience, the quality of your work, the market, the competitive analysis that you decide to do for your space. But then factor in the amount of hours that you're investing into the work by just tracking your time just over a period of time. And then that helps you with the baseline for how you want to calculate what that retainer would ultimately look like. But I've tried everything. I've asked ChatGPT, what are top industry agencies charging out? Look, at the end of the day, you have to figure out what works for you. And for the type of what we call your ideal customer profile, whatever that is, or whatever that looks like, you want to find something that actually works for you. Because there's not one size that kind of fits all when it comes to pricing. So you have to figure out what works for you, for the type of client you're looking for.
Yeah. And again, once the recording of this is sent out, go through and watch again, because I think there is value in terms of the things that Rotimi mentions about project-based pricing and retainer-based pricing. I think the hourly rate is a good baseline and good for certain things, but I think a lot of value and scalability can be extracted from those other models.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more thing, and I'll be quiet. And that's the 2 years ago, we had a company that's paying us $4,000 a month for social, not for social, for marketing. But a good part of that, 80% of that, was Google Ads. So one of the things that we did was we introduced what we call value based pricing, and we said, hey, if we got you this number of leads and you give us 20%. And they said yes, and we hit our goals, and we got 20%, and I was extremely, happy, right? So as you're scaling up and as you're getting your ideal customer profile, you'll find that some of them are willing, right, to give you some sort of incentivized program, which I think ultimately will benefit both companies, because it's always a win-win.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Rotimi, thank you for sharing your wealth of agency and pricing knowledge with us. Really appreciated having you on. I do hope we can have you on again for a future conversation that we talked about. And once again, you can go to kingdombranding.com to check out Rotimi. We'll send out some goodies afterwards. Also, if you're not currently using Cloud Campaign, head over to cloudcampaign.com. Jump on a 2-week free trial, try out some of our AI tools like Caption AI, write some captions of your own, and try out some of our powerful automation features. We really hope this webinar has been informative and that you just got some value out of pricing, and hopefully you can extract some more value out of your agency. Rotimi, thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone. We'll catch you next month. Bye.